Wanted to see this from AGH right here. Sold my last 5K of XRP and bought Pulse today. Tired of dead coins like XRP and ADA. Sold them believing in RH ecosystem. Well, welcome aboard, my friend. If you are new to the ecosystem, I mean, I think you'll find a very vibrant, committed, wildly, what's a good adjective I'm looking for here? Just wildly, I already said committed. I mean, like, people are insane in this community, and they really value the principles that RH kind of instilled with crypto and stuff like that. So welcome to you. And I hear what you're saying too. I mean, other than just XRP and ADA being a couple cycles in, yeah, just feeling like not a lot is going on with them, especially XRP. I mean, literally that they are dumping coins on you. Like, for a fact that the CEO, people that run the thing, are actually dumping their tokens. Now, I don't know that I don't think Charles Hoskinson does that with ADA, and I'd be more bullish on Cardano for sure than I would XRP. I mean, XRP is just not even really, crypto. But welcome into you, and I think we're going to see a lot more of that sentiment as the bull market does go on, just from people kind of seeing what is going on over here. So, yeah, good stuff.
Good stuff.
Cult, yeah, thank you.
Cult dedication. We do have to remember. Somebody gave me shit for reading his post, and we are now a layer 1 blockchain, and just because I read something doesn't mean I'm supporting it, doesn't mean I'm buying it, doesn't mean anything. But people that support this whole ecosystem in general are needed. I mean, I understand there was one point where Richard said, I don't care if there's anything else, I'm building it for Hex. That was the main reason that this was created in the first place. But there's going to be other stuff out there. I'm not telling you to buy it. I'm not telling you to not buy it. I don't know much about it. So he gave us a super chat. I read his text. So yeah, people can understand that,
Well, PulseChain altcoin talk, go ahead and send us some money, and whatever you say, we'll put up on the screen. That's just kind of how that works. So
there you go.
$500 to be exact. Okay, so let's move on here. That's where the prices are now. Very vibrant chat. So I appreciate all of you guys being here tonight. Keep hitting us up. Let's just go to this. And I don't want to, I hate being hasty and like, the thumbnail tonight, talking about what could this ecosystem do in this bull market. Let's just get to that now, because we're already talking about the prices. Things are starting to pump. People are getting bullish, so let's give the people what they want. And I think we should start off by just talking about what the principles are that we know of here, like what we have at our disposal as far as the community, as far as kind of a treasury of sacrifice funds that is out there, and the best founder in all of crypto, which is a real thing. Sometimes I know the whole thing of like, well, if RH disappeared tomorrow, it doesn't really matter and the products still work. Absolutely, yes, all totally true, and the products are great. And PulseX, for example, and Hex are both like amazing. Like, Pulse is the blockchain, so that's what it is. It's the blockchain. Pulse is the token of the blockchain. But PulseX, you've got a DEX with the fee switch basically turned on with a buy and burn and everything like that. That no other DEX does this in crypto. Hex, awesome smart contract for yield that nobody else has really duplicated in crypto. So I understand that, but there is a selling point too of being behind the guy. And there's a lot of, Richard Hart has a lot of exuberance and bravery, and that's why people get behind him. It's much like Elon Musk. I mean, people invest in his products just because they're like, you know what? I have faith in this guy. I know I'm not putting my money necessarily straight into him, but he has a lot to do with these companies. And I want to put my money there. So there's nothing wrong with that either. But I want to ask you, Ewok, and you don't have to give like specific prices, but we can talk about ranges, whatever you want to do. But what do you think PulseChain's potential is this bull cycle? Just again, knowing all those things I kind of just described. We talked about a wallet with sacrifice funds from the PulseChain sacrifice that has the PulseChain or PulseX sacrifice that has 170,000 ETH right now. You and I were just discussing it the other night with ETH at $10,000, a price that many people would hope is a safe estimate for where it could go at some point in this bull market. Well, that wallet, assuming everything was still in there, would have almost $2 billion in it. I mean, it would be 1.75 billion basically at that point. So knowing all of these things, and then like our friend AGH here, that I think it was him that is bridging over into PulseChain now, and seeing all these clips coming in, what do you think we could see in this cycle? Because we've seen such a wide range of things. Back before the thing launched, you got K4K and all these people talking about 14,000x Pulse X and all this stuff. Nobody thinks that anymore. I don't know if he meant this cycle or what he meant or whatever. But expectations have changed. It's been out for almost a year and a half now. We just retouched the all-time lows 2 weeks ago. There are people that are like, oh man, if I get a 15x out of this, I'll be happy or whatever. So what are your kind of range of outcomes? And I think it is best to look at it in that way rather than a concrete price. But what do you kind of think just based on all these things and any other bullish things you want to add in that I didn't already add?
There's my prediction. 2 cents on Pulse. And that is a 65,000%, which would be a 65x from the bottom, I believe.
If it 2 cents would be about
652x. I'm sorry, I missed.
Yeah, I was going to say that'd be like a 465x from here still. So
that's from the relative bottom there at the point, the 0031-ish area. It could go there. I don't think it'll stay long. Don't forget, we're going to see a lot of people exit this with very large bags once it hits the sacrifice level, once they double it even at the 0002, and so on and so forth. So I think there's going to be a lot of pullbacks along the way that are quite sizable. So this could take a little while. But I do think that we could see a candle up to, $1.50, 2 cents. People think that's probably unheard of right now just because of where we're at. It is a lot of X's, but at the same time, the more people that sell positions along the way, the more probable something like that is, at least in this cycle anyway. I think there's going to be a lot of capital that comes in. I think once, and this is something else we're probably going to talk about a little bit later too, is the narrative of the cycle. What is it this time? And I still think the DeFi thing has a lot to do with current events, I guess I should say. I think it's going to be quite popular. I think people are going to realize soon enough that this chain actually isn't just a ghost chain. It's not something that is a scam, especially if we get any kind of positive outcome from this SEC case. It's not even important, but it is to the people, right? This chain's going to move on whether that court case goes well or not. I think worst case scenario, it's a civil thing. So the worst case is they pay a fine, right? So I just think that's my target area. I think 2 cents is quite doable this cycle. And I think it's going to have quite the pullback after the cycle's over and we get a thing, a bear market. But that's kind of where I'm shooting for. So what say you?
Well, I mean, I would be beside myself if that were to happen. I think most people, I hope you're positioned well enough that would change your life significantly. I'll tell you this, I'm certainly not going to prepare. Well, I am prepared for a scenario like that, but I'm not going to count on a scenario like that, I guess is what I'll say. If that would happen, that would be that'd be insane. I've kind of always, hence the thumbnail, I've kind of always thought that 100x, or at least always, in terms of once we kind of saw after the launch that basically it was kind of as if the value of Hex was, I don't know, dissolved isn't the word that I mean, but basically spread out over the 5 tokens. We kind of just saw that in terms of the price. Yeah, diluted, my bad. Yeah. So we kind of saw that, which made me a little bit adjust my expectations down a little bit. And then, of course, all the events of this past year, nothing to do with the SEC stuff. Yeah, I am with you 100%. I've been saying for a very long time, like the SEC thing, if if some of the things that people say about the SEC lawsuit were true, then the SEC has way more power than we're even saying that they do. And I didn't mean to rhyme right there, but if it, people have said like, oh, RH wins the suit, or if it gets dropped here in October, not in October, but after the motion to dismiss hearing, we're gonna have an immediate 10x and all this stuff. I mean, like I do think we would see a crazy bump up in price in the short term, but to think that that would pop off the ecosystem, like give the ecosystem another 100x at the end of the cycle versus not. I just don't think that's true. I don't think the SEC has that kind of power. I don't think people in the market give a shit about it at all. I mean, they don't. Like, just look at responses on the SEC's post. Look at responses on, like, today I saw that Watch Guru account talking about, oh, the SEC calls Bitcoin mining machines securities. It's like, oh, wow, okay. It's like Oprah saying, you win a car, you win a prize, all that stuff. So it's not really something that I take very seriously. So I don't really care about the SEC thing. But just with basically what I'm talking about more so is just the price of PulseChain. What has happened over this last year and a half has made me want to have realistic expectations, realistic lower expectations, just in case. And I've always been somebody who wants to prepare by, investing everything I possibly can in case it doesn't go to where Ewok says it's going to go, or even half of where Ewok says it's going to go. Like, I want to be positioned to be okay regardless. So that said, I understand where you're coming from, Ewok. And again, we just talked about crazy numbers. Like, you and I were having a fireside chat the other night. That treasury, whatever you would want to call it, with 170,000 ETH in it, ETH at $10,000 puts it near $2 billion. I mean, that could do legendary things for helping an ecosystem out. And also, I want to get your perspective, Ewok, too, because a lot of people here in the chat, and many people, I'd say the majority, I dare to say, people that are probably invested in this ecosystem right now are people that heavily bought tops in late 2021, that were buying Hex at 30, 40, 50 cents September of 2021. And here we are 3 years to the day, basically later. You saw the 10,000x last time around. While, that's measuring bottom to top, obviously, and not everybody, or hardly anybody, was able to take advantage of that exact top and bottom. Many people were staked out. I know Ewok included. But if you had any amount liquid with that kind of price action, people obviously did very, very well. So you have the benefit of going through that entire thing last cycle, Ewok, seeing it from start to finish. You were getting Hex in the early days and the adoption amplifier and all that stuff. So try to tell the people here, in case they didn't experience it, like just what that bull market can be like, and how, regardless of all your expectations, it probably went even far beyond those as far as Hex did last cycle.
Well, yeah. I mean, most people were back in the adoption amplifier days. There were so many people that were saying it would be a struggle for it to reach a penny. Just because of the market cap and all of that stuff. So that was disproven, and then it got to 5 cents and then 10 cents. And it was just such a feeling of euphoria. And, I was one of the lucky people that got in on the adoption amplifier on day 33, which was the very, very low.
Yeah.
And it was, I remember it was 0.00005655. I'll always remember that because, I was lucky enough to get in on that day. Now, I didn't have a whole lot, was getting in regularly, though, throughout that whole couple weeks.
Right.
Just a little bit of Ethereum each day, whether it was 0.1 ETH, 0.2 ETH, 0.5 ETH. I broke it up all through that period of time. And I don't think ETH was more than 120, 130 bucks at that point. So, it was very small amounts. But when you see something do a 10,000x, it doesn't take a whole lot, right? $100 becomes a million pretty quickly. So, I don't think PulseChain will do the 10,000x, not this cycle. I think it's still a little too heavy. I think there's too many investors. But to your actual question, it's just the euphoria that you feel is just indescribable. When you start to see everybody taking screenshots of their portfolio every day, that's a signal. When you start to see people going out and buying crazy things or talking about the things that they're going to buy. Another signal. There's just there are a lot of a lot of those signals where it may be time to take a little off the top. Can't hurt, but yes, it's just a crazy feeling. It's like I said, you can't describe it. It's amazing.